Today's like July 15th, 2025. I purchased a greenhouse. Lori and I did. Happy wife, happy life. Lori's the veggie person, not me. Her degree's in horticulture from Clemson. She worked at Biltmore House and Gardens in Asheville, North Carolina, and right near my home, former home. So I'm installing a greenhouse here over the next couple of days, weeks, months, whatever. And I'm going to be doing, following that whole thing as it comes along. I've purchased this greenhouse, and it's kind of the chintzy one, okay? It's not the good one. It's not the Mercedes, definitely not the BMW. It's more like the Chevrolet or the Yugo. I don't know what would be compared to that today. Anyhow, but it's what I could afford. But I bought some upgrades for it to make it stronger, because coming right through this gate are really high winds. That field over there has a funnel effect, and it makes a venturi there that pushes winds through here literally 120 miles an hour. So fast that it bent my solar towers before I had to have them buffered up. And I've actually lost panels off that tower a long time ago. So I'm putting it here. The kit comes with 16 arcos. I didn't say that right. Arcs, or hoops. And I upped it to 21. They're not really the big diameter metal tubing I wanted, because they didn't have them. All right, well, rather than me go buy all of their upgrades at the greenhouse store where I bought this kit from, which I could have done, well, they didn't have some of the stuff I wanted. I wanted more trusses in the roof. I wanted more bracing on the sides, whatever. What I decided to do, and this is where it's going right here in this spot here, it's 40 feet, let me correct that. It's 12.5 meters by 8 meters wide. That's about 40 by 20, give or take, okay? And what I'm going to do is I am going to make these upgrades. And to do that, I purchased some additional square steel tubing, 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters square tubing. With that square tubing, I'm going to make a knee wall. And that knee wall is going to be about 1 foot between there and 2 feet tall. And that's doing a couple of things. I'm going to anchor that knee wall with concrete, okay? How am I going to do that? I'm going to put in the holes. I'm going to pour concrete in there, and in that concrete I'm going to put J-bar. I'm going to manufacture some thread rods and put T's at the bottom of it, so that acts as an anchor in the cement. I just don't want that thread rod to pull out of the cement. I'm going to make the tops of the thread rod come out and put a nut and then a hole through a piece of plate that's welded to the bottom of that knee wall. So the knee wall will be bolted in 2 places, and I also can level it, is my other purpose there. I'm going to get as level as I can for Jim. That's me. And I'm not so good at that. So I want some wiggle room there, literally. And then, so that knee wall does a couple of things for me. It makes my greenhouse last longer. I think it will. I hope it will. Pray it will. It gives me some more weight at the foundation of it and the base of it, and the little bit more height as well, so I can put a tree in there, like a lemon tree I'm looking at that we have here that needs to go in there. And the wife has some other plans, so that's what I plan to do. So the knee wall will basically be a rectangle that's 1 foot tall, or maybe 2 feet tall. I have to figure that out yet. And there's going to be a door at each end. They're sending these chintzy plastic, and that's fine, but I want to upgrade that. So I'm going to upgrade my door as well and I'm going to make steel metal tubes, square tube ends for each end of my greenhouse, and that's going to be screwed, bolted, welded in spot, and then I'm going to cover that with polycarbonate, which is like waffle board is what it is, double walled poly. It's rigid. It's almost like plywood, but it's not. It's clear. And I've used a lot of that product before. I use it on the roof of the woodshed very successfully, and I did that because I want the lighting in there and some other things. Okay, and I want the lighting in the greenhouse, but I really want it to be beefed up. Also, in the knee wall, so you got a rectangle that goes like this, the knee wall. In each one of those bays along that, I'm going to have polycarbonate in there, and I'll probably use like angle iron. I'll take some angle iron, cut brackets, and thread or put self-tapping screws, metal screws in there, or I'll weld it in there, and then I'll countersink that polycarbonate into that knee wall and maybe caulk it too. So it's super sealed, keeps varmints out. Slugs and stuff like that are a real problem for us here in our soil. And foxes and yada yada yada. So that's my intention. And this is not a hoop house per se. It comes to a peak and comes down with. It's got a point on it, so to speak, a gable. You can see them all over the internet. They're there. Why didn't I just, hey Jim, use the stakes that they give me, pound those in with a sledgehammer, and put concrete around it? I don't have a problem with that in South Carolina where I grew up, because the soil there was like concrete. It sure is. But here our soil is like light, fluffy, beautiful. If you went to heaven and you were a gardener, they would have our soil. They come here and they pick it up in this region. No rocks. Yeah, in my soil right here where I'm at. It's rich, it's black, it's deep, it has no gravel, and it has no sand in it for the most part. Okay, it's like if you dreamed perfect soil, we have it, and it's really nice and it's rich. It's heavier than peat moss, let's say that. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever your little big box store is in the U.S. and you buy potting soil. Okay, that's junk. This stuff, I could put the potting soil company out of business if I could ship it there cheap enough. It's so nice. It's actually a pleasure to dig in this soil, but there's a problem. There's always a problem. And the problem is that the soil here is so light and fluffy and all that stuff that when it rains, these big trees behind me, and you see the stump back there, right in here somewhere, I can't point, right there, that was falling over because you get a huge monster tree, and I'll show you here, hold on. You get these huge monster payine trees, and a lot of them, if you look, I'll find you a good example. This one's topped, that one's been topped, that one's topped. There's a bunch down on my woods. The canopy's blown out of them because the winds are so high. There's one right there. You can see that it's been whacked. The winds did that, okay? That one's been whacked years ago, I'm sure. And they still get whacked regularly. And what happens is those trees right there, that big tree will blow over. And it just... And so our soil is really light and fluffy. To that whole light and fluffy soil mystery, the fact that we get 6 to 8 feet of rain a year here, most of that's in the wet season, the wintertime, which is now, it doesn't make it conducive to put, pipes this big around and just put them in like a coffee can size of concrete. It may work here in Chile, but I ain't chancing it. And this is going to be here when I'm dead, I hope, still being used as a greenhouse. And that knee wall with that 50 by 50 square tubing made out of the knee wall, it's not going to be really thick walled steel. I think it's 2 millimeters, but it's enough to add that extra weight that I want. I'm going to use that thread rod and ready mix cement at 14 different places, 95 pounds. So, that's 1,400 pounds. Let's roll it up, maybe 1,500 pounds of weight, plus the steel in the ground. It's got that that gripping the soil and the thread rod into it. I think it'll be, I hope it's overkill, okay? I definitely don't want it blowing away. To give you an idea, friends of ours just built a greenhouse, so they're 3 hours north of us, near Pangapui, and it blew away. It's in their neighbor's yard right now. They also, on their property, have a covered porch, or let's say they had a covered porch. So you have to be protective of what you got, because the winds here can get pretty high, okay? So then why don't I have a windmill? Because the wind, well, a little bit earlier it was puffing a little bit, but it's at a dead stop now, okay? So I really like the solar. Solar goes even in low light days like today, but the windmill doesn't blow, the wind doesn't blow all the time. Sun does shine at least 4 hours a day where I'm at, and that's nice. So I want to show you my garden here. So Lori's the garden jefe, and these are my raspberries, and she cut them back really hard. They were getting unruly. I have to tighten up these brackets and do some bracketing down in the I have to pull them out and reset them. They're just sitting there in dirt. They're actually resting on stones, so I can pull those steel poles right out. I stopped using wood for them, like the ones in the center. Those are old ones, because they just rot off. Like all my fence posts, I mean, I got so many rotten fence posts. It's rotten. We stopped tilling our garden, and like we're in the second year of that. So what we're doing is we're just putting mulch down, which for us is old silage bales. I get them for free from my neighbors, as many as I want, and I just leave them here and we pitchfork them on top of everything, and it does. So I don't know if you remember, but well, these are my strawberries on the raised tubes. I have to restuff them with new poo, and these are my raised garden beds. I call it geriatric gardening for me, and some of you may know what these are. In the comments, tell me if you know what these are. And I'm not a real fan of these, but I eat them with homegrown butter and salt. Yeah, they're pretty dang good. I like them. I'll give you a better picture there. Got enough to feed a Russian army, as my dad would say. God rest his soul. So it cost me about $100 to build each one of these. Okay, and Lori had me loop a few of them so that she could put plastic over them, put them in. Some lettuce and some beets, more strawberries here, and $100 to have them raised. So you got to add more dirt to them every now and then. They were almost all the way up to like right here, and they've settled that much. The old hugel culture thing. But the nice thing is I can lean. I'm leaning right now on these sideboards, and you know, not hurting my back to pull these weeds. Right? They were weeds. Now they're on the ground. I'm going to build more of these, and these are steel framed. They're welded. You see the interior frame there, buffeted, angle iron on the exterior. I'd really gotten to where I've perfected my raised garden beds. I don't know what it cost me to buy one of these. Probably $300, $300, and they would be round. But she wants them down there in the new greenhouse, so I'm going to do more. I ain't moving these ones. No, sir. These ones are staying here. It's enough work for me to put them here. But we'll keep this garden as well. I plan to take a mini excavator and come through here and put a water line over to the piggies. You can't see it maybe, but right in there, that blue is a valve there, the big hose bib, 30 millimeter pipe. I'm going to run that out with a mini excavator to where the new greenhouse is going to be for irrigation. I plan on borrowing a friend of ours. They promised, and they're nice people, lending us their mini excavator, And I'm going to use that mini excavator to dig out another spring that we have and contain that spring into a well. We already have one that's set up like that. Basically, what you do is, let me see if I can get this here. So you take a culvert pipe, big concrete 4-foot around pipe. This is just a plastic bottle here that Lori uses, but you just stack them in the ground like that where the water is coming up underneath it. You dig a big hole, 10 feet around with your excavator, and then you put those pipes down in there on top of each other, and you want ground level to be about where the seam is so the water trickles out where the seam is. And they're going to fill up 2 or 3 of those. Those are going to fill 2 or 3 of them on the ground, so you'll get about 4 of those. And then you put a cap on it, and you put a well pump on it, and you're in like Flint. You're right as rain. So on my property, or Lori's property, may be it, our property, we have about 10 places where, 8 to 10 places where I could easily put another well, another spring, a contained spring is the way to look at it. And I really want to do that because, yeah, it's wet now. I mean, you can see there's puddles in places. It rained all night last night. And that's all good and well and everything now. Well, but in the summertime, it gets drier because, it gets dry in the summer. That's life. Hotter, it gets drier. And what do I want to do? I want to make sure that I can be able to water my pigs and my sheep and the grass and the new greenhouse and all that. And part of that is I plan on buying or upgrading our solar system. And I'm going to take the current solar system, which functions perfectly well, but I need lithium batteries. So that I won't say it's obsolete for lithium batteries. I'm using AGMs right now. Okay, so I'm going to take those. I'm going to make me a little power box to store stuff in down near the well, and at the top of the hill I'll put like 4 solar panels on a little tower, and I'll power that well pump with that to be able to fill up like a 10,000 liter tank on the float system. I'm already doing that, so this is not ancient or new technology for me. It's something I'm doing now and I know how to do. And then it'll give us water security. Okay, that's one of the reasons why I do not live in the northern part of Chile. They don't have water security there, and to me that's a big issue. Okay, if you can't water your animals cheaply, like free, then you're spending money that you should be spending on other things to help your farm along. Okay, and you're spending a lot of time and effort. I don't have those issues. So to me, too much water is in some cases, and mine is a good thing to have. So I'll keep you guys updated on how things are going, and when the supplies are coming for the greenhouse today that I told you about, the upgrades, those are coming actually, well, God willing, today. And the cement and all those goodies, and I need to start welding that knee wall and getting my line snapped and everything nice and square so that I can be ready for when the package comes, the kit next week. And that's what I'm looking at. So God bless you. I appreciate for coming to my channel. I love all the comments. I want you to notice that I always respond to the comments, even the bad ones. And I appreciate all comments, and I'm open to discussion on anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just Jim. Yep. Ciao from Chile. Welcome to Chile Expat Family. I'm Jim Dorchak. Back in 2013, Lori, my wife, and we moved ourselves and our 3 children to Chile for an adventure. It just seemed to us that living at the end of a cul-de-sac and working all day long, all month, all year long, paying taxes, and not having anything to show for it just was not living for us. It wasn't getting it. So what we did is we moved here. We just up and sold everything and moved. We did some research. But when we got here, there was no one here to help us get through what we were doing. Accurate information about buying land, immigration, building a house. That just wasn't available. I couldn't find it, and what I did find was not factual, and sometimes it was flat out lies. You can see this in my first videos. I was painfully navigating Chilean culture, Chilean law, Chilean immigration, purchasing things, buying land, finding property. All that stuff is just, I had to learn it, and there was nobody here to help me. I didn't want anybody else to go through that. So what did I do? I created a group in Telegram called JimChileExpatFamily. I have a team in there of Chilean experts, immigration attorney, tax attorney, doctor, dentist, builders, a mechanic. All of them speak English. I created this group to answer your questions about Chile, help you decide if you want to or need to or can move to Chile, and how to do it safely and as cheaply as possible while getting good information. Also, this is really important. If you are looking for something to read up on Chile, you should buy Lori's Ultimate Guide to Immigrating to Chile. It's in its 3rd edition, and it's available at ChileanExpatFamily.com. It's really good, and it's very accurate for people interested in moving to Chile. See you in Telegram, and I hope you come join us.